live. All right. Give me a minute here, folks. Literally working on a lot of net today. Been one of those days. But I didn't want to go without another show another day. Another day without a show, I should say. Easy for me to say. Let's see here. Let's do that. How's everybody's Tuesday going? Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is June 12th. June 13th. No, it's June 12th. It is June 12th. Just kidding. I forgot what day it is. I don't know anymore. Big G's here. Kayfabe Candy Ass is here. Trying to get the chat working here on my end. There we go. Okay. Brando's here. All right. I originally was going to do Mick Foley. We went live. We're live for sure. Okay. That was fun. A little topsy-turvy there, kids. Botchamania indeed. All right. It's going to be one of those days, I think. But that's okay. I'm literally working on a tripod that is the most unstable thing ever. It's a tripod I was given by either JJ or Aaron, one or the other, and it folds into itself. So, yeah. All right. Maybe. Hi, Ricky. Hi, Kyle. Hi, Brando. Hi, Kayfabe. Hey, Big G. Certified G. CC Drinks here. Okay. All right. Reset. We'll try this again. Happy Tuesday. It is June 12th, 2018. I don't even know what the hell year it is. We're batting 1,000. All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is June 12th, 2018. Welcome to Talk Wrestling, the only show by this channel this week because Thursday is my son's last day of school, and it's going to be chaos here from 12:30 p.m. Pacific time on. So I won't be in front of the camera on that day. I will be recording, hopefully with the No DQ fellas tonight after SmackDown and after No DQ Live. Maybe after Virtue's Rage. Is Virtue's Rage on tonight live, Big G, or Certified G, or Jeff, or whatever we're going with on this show? Or are we doing Virtue's Rage a different day because of the No DQ taping? Fill me in. I originally was going to do Mick Foley's birthday tribute last Thursday, which was his birthday, June 7th. He turned 53, I believe, this year. And today was going to be just Meacham Musings and was going to just kind of go over a quote I had picked out. But ended up being a Thursday ended up being a day where I could not record. I ended up having a severe conflict, and I could not get away from the house to record, so I had to alternate and do. We'll do Mick Foley's a different day. What we'll do is we will combine the Mick Foley tribute with the very first episode live watch-through episode of Talk Wrestling. Hello, Dylan. And we will do that at that point. June 28th, of course, is the live watch-through. On June 28th, around this time, at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, on Thursday, June 28th, will be us, you and I, all of you and I here watching on a different device. You'll be talking with me on this device. We're working on how we're going to set this up. I'm still working with my producer on this. We'll keep you posted on that. But June 28th, we'll be taking a look at the infamous Hell in a Cell match from King of the Ring 98, where it was Mankind versus The Undertaker. We'll be talking about Mick Foley. We'll be talking about The Undertaker. We'll be talking about the match. And we'll do it live as the match happens, unfolds before our very television or whatever device you have playing its screen. So keep tabs on me on that. We will let you guys know how that's going to work out in the next week or so. All right. So I was going to do the Mick Foley show last week. This week was going to be about One Night Stand anyway. It was going to be Thursday's show. Was going to be talking about One Night Stand, both 2005 and 2006. But here I am today. It is the anniversary of the first one, which was June 12th, 2005, of course. And it came about from what we were told on Talk Wrestling from Rob Van Dam, of course. Rob Van Dam. Came about as a direct result of the sales of the rise and fall of ECW. And some of you are watching 2005s right now. And great show, great memories, great feel. very ECW feel to it. It didn't feel like a WWE produced show. It felt like a WWE. It felt like an ECW show that was being presented by the WWE. It felt real. It felt authentic. It felt like the stars of our ECW show in 2005, the stars from the 90s, the stars from 2000 and 2001 had come back, had returned, and really said, okay, this is our last night. This is our last stand. This is one night that we're going to come out here and say thank you to everybody watching that supported ECW, that supported the DVD sales, that made us want to bring ECW back for you guys one more night. And I will get to Conrad and Bruce here momentarily, kayfabe. Fear not. I just watched that episode myself today. After having it recommended to me by Aaron. That talks about 2006. 2005 was a much better feel for the ECW history and legacy than was 2006. And we'll talk about that in just a moment here. I'm trying to shoot for being over 8 o'clock Eastern so you guys can watch SmackDown. And so I can watch SmackDown, I should say, so I can be ready for Money to Make predictions. Brando, we'll get to questions momentarily. I'm just going to kind of reviewing here. But 2005 really came about with Rob Van Dam, who I suppose is my answer to that. Brando, the greatest ECW wrestler of all time, is probably Rob Van Dam. He was the guy that really made everybody notice the TV title, made notice ECW. ECW was over with Shane Douglas, with the Dudleys, with Raven, with Dreamer, with all those guys. But Rob Van Dam was really that final piece of the puzzle that really brought ECW to the forefront and made people realize, wow, this isn't just blood and guts and nonsense. We do love Rob Van Dam at NoDQ.com. You're right, Kyle. And for very good reason. He's been very, very good to us. He has been very beneficial to us, and hopefully we to him, in terms of interviews and things of that nature, and really getting the No DQ name and my name, of course, out there. I don't know why I did that for the King's hat, but anyway, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But 2005, Rob Van Dam suggested the idea after the one night Rise and Fall VCW sales were so good on DVD, and of course VHS if you had VHS back then. It did very, very well for the WWE and really helped Rob make Vince McMahon see that there was something there still at ECW. There's something tangible to hold on to. So the plan was made. One night stand, June 2005, the Hammerstein Ballroom, the home of the final ECW shows and the pay-per-view, and Guilty as Charged, of course, 2001. And it was set. And lo and behold, as we head into the late part of December, early part of January, Rob Van Dam gets hurt. We'll talk about that, Braden. I promise we'll get there. I promise we'll get to the ECW stuff for WWE-wise after I talk about One Night Stand. Just bear with me, guys, please. And Rob gets hurt. He tears his knee, has the worst knee injury of his career, even more so than the broken ankle he had in ECW, and he's out. He's out for a year. So they go into One Night Stand with the guy that these comments are great. They go in with Rob, the biggest star of the show, has to cut a promo because he can't wrestle. And Rob even said himself in the promo that it sucked worse than missing Mania, sucked worse than missing Booker T's wedding, sucked worse than missing the overseas tour. It's really it was hard for Rob. I know it was hard for Rob because he told me so more than once that he hated missing One Night Stand as a wrestler, and that he wanted to make it right if there was a chance to make it right. And of course, he did the following year. Kind of. We'll get there. But 2005's show, you had a great promo by Paul Heyman where he cut into JBL, where he cut into Edge, where he cut into WWE in general. Said the F word. Shame on you, Paulie. You silly person. Just very, very bad boy. Exactly. That's exactly what he said to JBL. That he was only shaming for a year because Hunter didn't want to work Tuesdays. It doesn't surprise me if that's really the case. Silly goose. I like that. Silly goose works. But we had Lance Storm versus Chris Jericho, a great match with little shenanigans by the Impact players to end the match. We had a triple threat match, ECW three-way dance, I should say, with Tajiri, Super Crazy, and followed to Jerry Super Little Guido. Great for who it was. I probably ought to let's see, Virtue's Rage here. Virtue's Rage tomorrow night at 11 on Facebook, made official by YouTube. So there you go. Tomorrow night, 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, will be Virtue's Rage on Virtue's Facebook. Let me just hang on a second here. Let me just get this in front of me. Anyway, so we had going into the ECW pay-per-view, we had a lot of interesting things set up. We had a amazing segment by with Vince and Eric Bischoff, and Paul Heyman, of course, was in that segment, and they talked about, you know, ECW was never dead. It was an idea. It was a lifestyle. It was counterculture. It was up in your face, and Bischoff never really saw that. And as far as Paul Heyman felt, probably even as far as Vince McMahon felt, because Vince, as we've all come to learn over the last few years, was kind of had his financial hand in ECW and was kind of guiding the way for them to help make things happen for them. Okay, there we go. Got the card in front of me. Sorry about that. Should have had that. Not prepared, Jeff. Preparation prevents problems. Learn that. Know it. Love it. Lance Storm defeats Chris Jericho. Of course, Don Marie's out there with Lance Storm, as later on is Jason, the most disgusting man on the planet, or the sexiest man alive, whatever the hell they called him. And they had Just Incredible come in and interfere and help Lance Storm win. There you go. There it was. Lance Storm defeats Chris Jericho in what ended up being Lance Storm's last official WWE match. So there it was. Super Crazy defeats Little Guido and Tajiri. We see Mikey Whipwreck. We see the Center Minister. We see the FBI. We see everybody come out. It's a party. We're all invited. It was fun to watch. Very cool to see all those acts come out. It was very cool to see Jim Mitchell, who had been recently in TNA. Like that week, I think he was in TNA. They let him go for the One Night Stand pay-per-view. And I think he ended up going back not too long after, if I'm remembering right. Rey Mysterio defeats Psychosis in what was an amazing match. Let's see, Lance Storm is very, 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 very underrated. He always has been. He always will be. The no DQ. Oh, wait, that guy's on the B team. Jeez. Let's see. Certified G. Certified. All right, so Kyle, you guys are going live after SmackDown, are you? Because Aaron's live after SmackDown, so you'd be competing with the boss. Shame on you if you do. It is a shame, Dylan. Storm, I think they had a match back on Raw 2001 after Aaron. Okay, so while we're taping. Okay, very good. Just checking. Just checking, guys. I believe they had a match 2001 on Raw. I could be wrong because Storm came in 2001 during the WCW invasion, so I could be remembering that incorrectly. I don't know that for sure. Yeah, you guys are recording, not going live. Is that my okay? Anyway, Rey Mysterio against Psychosis, another fantastic outing in their long-standing series of matches. Remember, Psychosis and Rey really brought the Lucha Libre style to ECW when they had their matches. Who's more underrated, Storm or Christian? Wow. Probably Lance Storm. I think Christian gets a lot of the credit he deserves now. Lance Storm does not. Just my man's opinion. Take it for what it's worth. So Mysterio beats Psychosis. A great match. Psychosis comes out and takes the mask off as he gets through because he'd already been unmasked in Mexico and on WWE TV, of course. So was Rey Mysterio. But Mysterio chose to keep the mask on when he came to WWE, and there that was. RVD comes out, cuts his promo, talks about ECW, the ideas, how long he was TV champion, and how much ECW meant to him and everybody in the back, and how important it was that he be there, and it sucked for him missing this in ring more than it sucked missing WrestleMania, missing Booker's wedding, missing overseas tour, everything like that. Yeah. Storm's very underrated. I agree with you guys. He's very underrated. Sabu, I think Sabu got a little too much credit. He was very entertaining to watch. Hello to London, England. It's past midnight for you guys there. Happy Wednesday. Thank you guys for watching in England. I appreciate it. So there's that match. We have Mysterio against Psychosis. Then we have Van Dam cuts his promo. Rhino comes out and attacks Van Dam with the gore. Lights go out. There's Sabu. Sabu comes out. They have a match. Sabu defeats Rhino with Van Dam's help. Amazing hardcore style match with some high flying Sabu stuff, some ground and pound Rhino stuff. Fun match. Rhino he'd come in from TNA. He'd been there, and actually no, Rhino had come in. He was not in TNA yet, I don't believe. He had come back for one night stand. Then he went to TNA afterwards, which is why he wasn't part of the 2006 ECW revival. And then of course he ended up tossing the trash can of the belt in the trash can and burning them on Impact. That was kind of a fun thing. The following year. So Sabu beats Rhino. Van Dam helps him. They get the moment with Sabu and Van Dam doing the pose with Fonzie. It was very cool. And a match that you look back now and you go, oh, that's interesting that happened because of what happened later on in the year with Eddie. Chris Benoit defeats Eddie Guerrero. And what is Eddie Guerrero's final, his only ECW pay-per-view appearance. Because he was not, but both are ECW pay-per-view, only ECW pay-per-view appearances. Because, of course, Eddie died later that year, and Chris passed away a couple years later without having appeared on December to December or One Night in 2006. Eddie was in ECW, but prior to going into WCW Monday Nitro, he appeared in ECW for a few months. He was their TV champion. He had a great feud with Dean Malenko. The best match, I think, in ECW history, one of them anyway, was 2 out of 3 falls, him and Dean Malenko, as they both left ECW. Go on the network and watch it. I don't know what time it was. I don't know what day it was, but find it. Eddie Guerrero versus ECW. Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko. ECW 2 out of 3 falls match. And yes, Lita was in ECW as Miss Congeniality and Angelica. She was with Danny Dorn and Roadkill. Who also were at One Night in 2005. I don't think they had a match or not. Good question. I think they just appeared. Yeah, they didn't have a match. So after Benoit and Guerrero have a match, JBL comes back on the mic and is yakking, and out comes Paul. And Paul comes out and has an amazing promo. Just talks about thanking everybody, thanking his director on the ringside and his partner, and thanking everybody. And then he goes to leave, and I almost forgot about you guys, and cuts into JBL and cuts into Edge. Talks about the thing with Matt Hardy that Edge had, the little feud they were going to go into, the real life drama they had amongst each other. And JBL not only being champion because Hunter didn't want to work on SmackDown, and just great promo. He exits the ring. We get another interesting thing after this. I remember Blue Meanie was thin. I remember when I was thinner for 7 months too. That's how that works. Chris Candido, I agree with that. Chris Candido. No, it wasn't Dreamer versus Sandman versus Dudley's yet. It was Mike Awesome versus Masada Tanaka, where Mike Awesome had his back turned on him by the Crusaders, and just lambasted on commentary by Joey Styles and Mick Foley over his desertion of ECW in 2000 to go, of course, to Nitro and become that 70s guy and the Fat Chick Thriller. Yeah, we have Mike Awesome on the show. Nice guy. Ended up going to ECW not too long after we had him on the show to One Night Stand to compete. Of course, he passed away not too long after. So he tried to redeem himself. The crowd didn't buy it. The crowd kind of got into it at the very end. And yeah, Eddie and Benoit being only 10 minutes was criminal, but they had a lot to fit in. They had a lot of guys to get in on that show. So it didn't surprise me. And then, of course, the main event, the Blood and Guts. Dreamer and Sandman versus the Dudleys. You had the classic Sandman entrance with Enter Sandman, with Metallica playing. That was the very first broadcast. It's not on the network now, but on the original broadcast, they played Enter Sandman. And before the match began, the BWO comes out, Kid Cash comes out, Balls and Axel come out. Beulah comes in during the match. Francine comes in during the match. It's chaos, it's mayhem. The Dudleys put Dreamer through a flaming table. He's out. The Dudleys win. The final match of the card. Sandman is telling somebody, throw me a beer. And here comes Stone Cold in an XFL jersey, by the way. Gets the beer to Dreamer. They all come out for a beer bash. Awesome looks at the Crusaders and says, get your asses down here if you want to fight. They come down. They have the fight. Taz comes out after being attacked by Kurt Angle the previous week on SmackDown. Taz, who was still a commentator, Taz and Kurt Angle get into it briefly. Taz puts Kurt Angle on the Taz mission. The Crusaders pretty much get their butts kicked. The real life thing between Blue Meanie and JBL plays out, which brings Blue Meanie to TV about a month or so later. No, it was not He Gave Me jersey. It was a Vegas jersey. I forget what number. I forget what number he wore, but who he wore. But it was a Las Vegas Outlaws. Outlaws? I think it was Outlaws jersey is what he wore. And the original Stand Tall, Bischoff tells everybody to F ECW, and he gets carted off to the trash after being assaulted with a 619, a 3D, I believe, a diving headbutt, and a stunner, of course, from Stone Cold Steve Austin, who sends us off with the music playing, and off we go to the races. And so a year later, as we head toward, following WrestleMania, where Rob Van Dam wins the Money in the Bank, and he says he's going to cash in at One Night Stand against John Cena for the WWE Championship. We find out that not only is One Night Stand coming back, but ECW is coming back as a brand of WWE, the third brand of WWE after Raw and SmackDown. It ended up being the C brand for sure, unfortunately for everybody involved with the ECW brand. One Night Stand was a good show in 2006. It wasn't as good in 2005, I don't think. You had Taz versus Jerry Lawler in a match that neither one of them really had business being in. They just did that to get Taz on the show and put him in the commentary booth with Joey Styles because the King attacked Joey. Joey attacked the King. Taz got King and Taz mission, and that was it. Kurt Angle defeated Randy Orton. It was just over 15 minutes. A great match, great psychology, great crowd heat for Randy Orton. As it always is in ECW. It wasn't no disrespect. It was what it was. It was designed to get Taz on the show and to give him a reason why he was joining Joey in the booth and why he was going to be the color commentator for ECW going forward. It was because he helped Joey out at One Night Stand. That's why they did that. The FBI defeated Super Crazy and Tajiri, a great match. JBL cuts another promo. I don't know what order that was, but he comes out and says, I'm taking Taz's job on SmackDown. I'm going to be the voice of SmackDown. That'll be me on Thursdays, not Taz. Taz is jumping to the B brand, or whatever the hell stupid shit JBL said. I don't even know. Doesn't matter. So you had that. Rey Mysterio and Sabu, the most disappointing match of the night, ends in a no contest when Sabu DDTs Rey through the table, and they both hit the concrete floor. And it was unfortunate because the WWE doctors deemed it a no contest. The fans crapped all over it. JBL was a great commentator the first time. Before he went back and faced Jericho in 2007, JBL was an awesome commentator. Same WrestleMania where Foley and Edge faced one-on-one, because after Rey Mysterio and Sabu, we had Edge, Lita, and Mick Foley against Beulah, Terry Funk, and Tommy Dreamer. It really wasn't the girls involved. It was Dreamer and Funk against Foley and Edge, but the girls got involved, and they were involved in the decision because Edge wrapped Tommy Dreamer with the barbed wire around the eyes, took him down, speared Beulah literally in half almost, and pinned her with a horrible position. Shame on him. I got a kid watching. And violent match. Foley comes out, cuts the heel promo, talks about ECW is great with the Alliance, and just really garners the heat. And yes, Edge was the performer in 2006. I think Edge had a better year than Rob Van Dam or John Cena. Edge was an amazing performer in 2006. He really hit his stride that year, and even the following year, the Doctor of Jugonomics. Wow, I don't remember hearing that. I'll take your word for it, okay, I'll take your word for it. Little 5-minute match here afterwards. Balls Mahoney defeats Masato Tanaka in what was one of the most brutal chair shots I've ever seen. He took the chair with him. The chair looked like the chair I had in my hand when it got broken over Joey Ryan's head at PWG. Just amazing. And of course, as we approach the main event of 2006's One Night Stand, which is supposed to be Rob Van Dam's ascension to the throne, he's supposed to be the champion, beat John Cena, or we riot. Here comes frickin' Eugene. And Eugene comes out and starts doing his thing. And they show the Sandman. They play the Sandman's WWE generic music, and Sandman just canes the holy dog out of Eugene, chases him off. And then we get, including intros, about 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes of what was a great presentation. John Cena, the crowd just pissed all over him, rightfully so back then. Maybe even now, if ECW was around, they'd probably piss on him. What are they going to do with him? They kept throwing his shirt back and threw his hat back at him. They got into the fight. Rob did very well for himself, as did Cena. Great back and forth. Cena took over for a while, and then takes out the ECW referee. Nick Patrick comes down. He gets taken out. And as they're fighting, this guy comes out from underneath the ring with a helmet on, covering his face, and spears Cena, and it's Edge. And Edge does this to John Cena, walks off with a honest expression. Van Dam gets up like, what the hell? 5-star frog splashes Cena, gets the cover. Heyman runs down. 1, 2, 3. Van Dam is the WWE champion. He's announced as ECW champion. And we get another party. Van Dam, of course, walks to the balcony and celebrates with his wife. They have a moment up there together. And then he comes back down the ring and celebrates with the entire ECW roster, both old and new. Big Show's there. Kurt Angle's there. The ECW alumni are there. And they have a great moment as we go off the air. The following Tuesday, Monday night, they announced that the decision to stand. Heyman announces the decision is final, as he was the representative of ECW. He was an official at the time. 1, 2, 3 stands. He's the champion. On Tuesday night, ECW on Sci-Fi, we get the presentation of Rob Van Dam as the new ECW World Heavyweight Champion. And it all goes down from there. Because the very next segment on ECW on Sci-Fi is the Sandman coming out and caning a zombie. Not some guy that was... He came out as a zombie on the Sci-Fi Network. Sound like the Creeper from Scooby-Doo or some shit. And the Sandman takes him out. And that's very indicative of how the ECW brand is going to be presented as a WWE property on the Sci-Fi Network. And Bruce Pritchard was arguing about this and that, it was going to be something different. It was crap. Complete, unadulterated crap. I'm right there with Conrad Thompson on this. I'm right there with everybody in the NerdQ chat on this. I'm sure you guys feel the same way I do. Just a horrible, just bad. Just bad. Now, Sandman wasn't Great Khali. The zombie was Great Khali. I agree. Yeah. Bruce tried. He tried so hard to defend WWE's stance on it, but even he admitted he could not defend WWE CW. There's no defense of that. The minute they had anybody stick their hand in that creative, not financial necessarily, but creative gene pool, except for Paul and maybe Dave Lagana, who was there, and maybe Ed Koski, who was there. The minute Vince started making, it's a WWE brand, it must be WWE. Tanked, over, done. Phooey. SmackDown is about to come on. Yeah, exactly. Everybody thought ECW was stupid except Paul, so they buried it. And Paul's writers even they were fighting a losing battle. They were going upstream without a paddle with a broken canoe. They were dead in the water. They were dead, as Paul said on the Rise and Fall. They were dead. There was no way to save it. It was over. So, ECW One Night Stand. Thank you guys for watching this week on all for joining us. Thank you all for moderators. We will see you guys next time on Talk Wrestling.